Hello everyone, Jake Joseph here again with another mental health video, and today we're going to talk about anxiety and 5 of the most common signs. They're not the most common, but they are 5 signs of anxiety that you should look out for. And if you suffer with any of these signs in the video, then you should get yourself to the doctors. I understand that's very difficult to do, but once you've done it once, it does make it slightly easier to get help in the future. So it's all about getting your name on the system. Once your name's on there, it's very difficult to get your name in the system, but once it's in there, it's a lot easier to get help. So number 5 would be, in no particular order, by the way, avoiding social situations. This is something I do a lot myself. It could be something like you cancel appointments, you cancel plans with your friends and your family, and you see, with me, sometimes I sit there and think what excuse I could give without telling them that it's because of my anxiety, because it can be quite embarrassing at times to admit to people, especially your own family, that you're struggling. So I can relate to that myself, because I've never actually spoken to my family about my mental health problems beside my brother. So all other members of my family, they find out about my struggles when I do videos like this. So I understand how difficult it can be to speak to the people that are closest to you. And that's part of the reason why I make these videos. It can bring a lot of people together with raising awareness. And there's a lot of groups on Facebook and stuff like that where strangers can interact with each other, which is really good. So for me, making phone calls is part of avoiding social situations, and that's a big one for me, because I've actually got into trouble with paying my bills on time, because I've avoided phone calls sometimes for weeks at a time, and I don't know why. It's very, very difficult for me, and I think in my head, can I make this phone call today? And if I don't end up making it, then the anxiety will then turn to depression, and I'll end up feeling down about not making that call for a couple of days before a good mood comes along again. And sometimes I wake up one day and I think, I've got to do it now. The second I open my eyes, if I don't make that phone call, I'm not going to do it for the rest of the day. And it sometimes, making a decision as soon as you wake up can help you a lot, because if you just get it done, you might still be half asleep, you might not even barely remember what you've done later on in the day. But if you do it straight away as soon as you wake up, you don't have to worry about it, and it just helps so much. I write everything down beforehand, so if there's pauses in this video, that's why, because I'm just looking at what I need to say next. Number 4, trouble sleeping. Again, another one I struggle with, and I've struggled with this since I was a child. So right from maybe 6 years old, I used to suffer with night terrors for about 13 years, up until I was 13, and I've never ever remembered a single one of them to this day. But my mum used to tell me that I used to scream quite aggressively, and I could be quite violent, not towards her or anyone in my family, but towards myself and objects around me. And I never remembered any of them, but it seemed to have stopped when I went into foster care. So it was probably childhood related, and I didn't know much about it, to be honest. And every now and again I still have night terrors, but it's very rare. I think once in a 2-year relationship with an ex of mine, there was just one time where she woke me up terrified because I was screaming like I was being killed. So night terrors is definitely a sign. Yeah, or even just short nightmares. You might just fall asleep for an hour and you've had just a really quick bad dream. That is also a sign of anxiety. Sleeping for 3 or 4 hours maybe at a time, and then not being able to fall asleep again, or falling asleep throughout the day and being awake all night. These are all signs of anxiety. Number 3, difficulty concentrating. Now this one is horrible. I experienced this one about 4 years ago. I used to be a drug addict, and I quit drugs, and I developed anxiety from quitting drugs. That's how I got my anxiety, or at least that's when it was diagnosed anyway. But I was just on the bus one day, and I was about 3 or 4 months sober, and I was sitting on the bus, and I decided to put my earphones on, my headphones on, and listen to some music. And for some reason, I just started sweating. I felt trapped. I was terrified, to be honest, because I was on a packed bus, and I really wanted to listen to my music, but something in my brain just would not allow me to concentrate on it at all. And I ended up turning it off completely, and it took me a while before I could listen to music on the bus again. Part of that was through withdrawal symptoms, but it was anxiety for sure, and difficulty concentrating on things is definitely a big sign. Your attention span might be very short, and that could be with studying, work, daily hobbies, or anything at all. If you're regularly having problems with your concentration, that is definitely a clear sign of anxiety, and something that needs to be solved quickly, because that's going to prevent you from doing absolutely anything with your life. So a call to your doctor is definitely needed. Even if you don't suffer with anything else, and you're suffering with difficulty concentrating, you need to go and seek help for that. Excuse me 1 second, so I just need a drink. So. Sounds like I've got flip-flops on, but I've actually got a supporting shoe on, because I'm still finding it quite difficult to walk after my surgery. So, okay, number 2, panic attacks. Now, I've only ever had a few panic attacks. One of them was weed related. That was about 10 years ago. And I actually thought I was going to die from that. Panic attacks are extremely scary, and if you suffer with them regularly as well, then I can only show some love for you, because I've only ever had a few of them, and they are horrible. And some of the signs of a panic attack are excessive sweating, palpitations, rapid heartbeat, feelings of suicide, and feelings of being trapped are all very common with panic attacks. And for some people, they are rare for some people, but for others, they happen almost every day, and even walking outside the front door can immediately give someone a panic attack. And it's a horrible thing to go through and experience. And panic attacks, out of probably this whole list, the most serious sign of anxiety. And my advice to you, again, I know it might feel like I'm repeating myself, but like I said, I'm not a professional, and my advice would be to definitely go to a hospital rather than a doctor's if you're suffering from panic attacks, because there are a lot more professionals there, and most hospitals these days do have a mental health team available on call 24/7. So if you've just experienced a panic attack and you're in the process of calming down, it is really helpful to have someone from the mental health team on call. So if you're in the UK and you're near a hospital, definitely in the West Midlands area, then immediately, I mean, don't feel stupid about phoning 999, because I've done that when I felt suicidal. In January 2018, I felt suicidal, and I actually picked up a knife and felt like doing it, but instead I called the police, 999, and they were really, really helpful, and they made sure I received help throughout that night. And so that would be my advice. Panic attacks are extremely serious, and please seek immediate attention if you're experiencing one or you regularly experience panic attacks. So then, that's 5 signs of anxiety. Again, not the most 5 common, I don't believe, but some of them are extremely serious. And but all I can say is, again, is doctors or therapy. I'm currently waiting for therapy myself, and therapy is actually really good. Some people will find it difficult, especially if you find it difficult to talk, but that's the whole point. You're with a complete stranger, a professional in his field or her field, and you just get to sit down and talk to someone completely one-on-one, just like me and you now, like you watching this video. You can feel calm, a lot calmer and a lot safe, being in a room with just one person who knows exactly what they're talking about. And sometimes with therapy, just talking like I'm talking to you now, can help a great deal. So for me personally, something that helps with anxiety is medical cannabis, not the stuff you get on the street. That it'll be medical cannabis, and that for me has helped my anxiety a lot in the past. Just keeping calm. There's CBD oil. What, you know what I'm on about? That the oil inside the weed. That's huge these days. It's like a fashion trend now. But it does work, and my family member of mine uses it for multiple sclerosis. So and it helps a lot as well. So for illnesses as physical and mentally. So I'm not going to advise you to try that because it's not within my right, but it's just an idea that I'm throwing out there. So it's up to you what you do about that. And before you try any sort of medication, please do your homework first, because you don't want to fall ill or have anything worse happen to you by taking something you're not familiar with. I'm trying to keep this video short so it's not too long, as I don't want to take up too much of your time. The shorter these videos are, the more information you'll take in, but you can always go back and watch in the future, because these videos are not going to go anywhere. They're going to be online for the rest of time probably, so you can always go back and watch them. So that's 5 signs of anxiety and a few details about my own personal struggle with this illness. It's not one to be taken lightly, and it's very serious. And if you feel like you're suffering with any of the signs in this video, please seek some help. No matter how big or small, even if it's just making an appointment to the doctors. Excuse me, I've got dry mouth today. It's driving me insane. So if anxiety is left untreated, if you feel like you have anxiety, and it's left untreated, the sad thing is it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse, and it's going to get a lot harder to deal with, and the deeper you fall into it, the harder it is to climb out. So as soon as you get these signs, please again seek some help. And thank you for watching. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe right there, I believe. Please subscribe for more videos about mental health. And if you're watching on social media platforms like Instagram or Facebook, then please like and share and help spread the awareness. And I will see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching.